But let's turn to Nigeria's immigration sector, where the Minister of Interior, Tunji Ojo, has assured that Nigerians will now receive their passports within 1 week of enrollment. Mr. Tunji Ojo mentioned that the reforms will end long delays and extortion that previously plagued the process. The Nigerian Immigration Service on Tuesday announced an upward review of Nigerian standard passport fees effective 1st of September. Now, a 32-page passport with 5-year validity has been increased from 50,000 naira to 100,000 naira. A 64-page passport with 10-year validity will now cost 200,000 naira as against the current 100,000 naira fee. The NIS explained that Nigerian passport application fees paid by Nigerians in the diaspora remains unchanged at $150 for the 32-page with 5-year validity and $230 for 64-page with 10-year validity. All right, so this has gotten Nigerians talking. Let's talk more on this. A business and public affairs analyst, Kenneth Ikenwa, joins me on the news at 10. For more perspective to this development, he joins me virtually. Good to have you join us.
Thanks for having me on.
So Nigerians are reacting to this increase. There's been a mixed reaction for and against, but I want to get your reaction to the increase, 100% increase, actually.
Well, this is quite an interesting time to be living in Nigeria. We're seeing unprecedented dimensions, ways and means through which Nigerian people are being taxed. It's also interesting to see that we have government officials that are able to actually defend the reasons for this taxation. But are these justifications, are they right, especially considering what Nigerians have been made to go through in the last 2 years? Owing and no thanks to the reforms, which no doubt were for good intentions. But I'm of the view that some of these reforms and this restructuring that's put much untold pain, financial pain on Nigerians have come at the right time, but too early. Now, back to the crux of the matter, the passport increment with about 100%. It's important that we take a look at what the reasons were actually adduced, reasons that were adduced for the unjustifiable increment at this point in time. One is that it will enhance the efficiency in service delivery. And two is that a promise that Nigerians will now be able to get passports as quickly as possible. I've lived in Nigeria and I can remember the time when it was possible to get your passport in Nigeria within a day. And within that same frame time, people still were able to get it within a week. So this new promise is nothing new. I would have expected the minister and the officials responsible to actually explain to us what the technology paradox is actually causing. And explaining that technology paradox would have been a better explanation. But when we come back to the economic logic that is actually behind this increment at this point in time, the logic is not sound. You can't be increasing the prices, increasing the fares, increasing the rates that people are supposed to be getting the government-related documents 400%, when we should be looking at and celebrating the fact that inflation has just come down from about 24% to between 21 and 22%. So when you weigh the 100% increment rate,
so apologies.
I don't think it's justifiable when you juxtaposition that.
But just before I ask you my next question, I just wanted to state that we have reached out to the officials of the Nigerian Immigration Service and then the Minister of Interior to have the conversation with them on this new development. We have reached out to them twice and they have not responded. We would like to get more perspective to this. We hope they come show up for that interview. But I also wanted to ask you, because they also talked about reducing or just at least obliterating that extortion process, as they called it, where if you pay more, you can receive your passport or get your passport in lesser time than those who apply normally. Almost like saying, look, they are trying to give everybody a level playing field. I mean, when you also consider that, reason, isn't it justifiable?
I must tell you, I couldn't quite get what you said there. The network seems to be jumping ahead of the frequency. But what I could get that you said there was that there's an attempt to put a level playing ground for everybody to be able to access the passport. That is another reason that was given. But I think it's best to go to public opinion to actually seek the jury on that. We are very much aware that when Nigerians actually apply for passports, it's usually something that borders on who you actually know to be able to get the passport as quickly as possible. Now, will 100% increment justify, or will it erase the fact that Nigerians have to know somebody in there, or Nigerians have to wait that long to actually get it? I think what the minister and what the immigration services should be doing is to benchmark the passport issuance and passport application processes vis-a-vis what is obtainable in other climes and against best global practices. Now, when you look at the rate of getting a passport in the United States and getting a passport in the United Kingdom vis-a-vis what is obtainable here, you find that it's easier. The processes are easier. So we should be talking about, actually updating the processes, actually upgrading the technology, and also when technology upgrade and processes are better enhanced, all over the world, they lead to declining prices and not increment in prices. So I do not know why the Nigerian logic is different. I don't know why the Nigerian logic is a contradiction of the global, best practices, where new technology is brought in place, where new processes are put in place, where, the levels, the different levels and hierarchies of obtaining this kind of essential documents are reduced, and subsequently the prices get reduced and adjusted for inflation vis-a-vis the current rate of inflation. The Nigerian rate, goes 5 times above the current rate of inflation. I think that it is time we'll look at that issue again, look at that policy, and look at this increment, either reverse it or actually fight for a reduction in that increment. And if we don't, it comes with a lot of consequences for Nigerians. When you look at the Nigerian minimum wage at 70,000, it will take an average Nigerian that saves 10% of his minimum wage on a monthly basis, about 24 months to be able to get a 64-page document for a passport, or about 15 months to get the same document for 32 pages. That is not what is obtainable as best global prices. You cannot be pricing people for passports a lot above what the minimum wage actually is.
Thank you so much. Again, I know that Nigerians will continue to react to this because this is taking effect next month. For a lot of people, it's quite a short time. But again, like I said, we reached out to the Nigerian immigration officials and the Minister of Interior twice. We're hoping they will come and explain more to Nigerians. Thank you for your analysis. Business and Public Affairs Analyst Kenneth Ekenwa.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's take a break now. You're watching the news at 10. We'll return shortly with more.